Sorry for the super long intro there, folks. The that 20 seconds, we had a hacker break in, I guess, right, Sean, to our Facebook account. And when I tried to go live, we changed the password, and StreamYard's like, no, you can't go, you can't go, you can't go. So buttons going, uh-oh, what's gonna happen? And then bang, here we go. And we were talking a little bit about that with Keivan before we came on air. I was saying to him how I'm 50. When I was younger, I had to show my grandparents how to use the the voice recorder, the voicemail machine, how to use the microwave. And now I'm a technological idiot with social media. And then bam, on the spot, I have to figure it out. So, woo. How you doing tonight, Keivan?
Not too bad. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on, man. It's our pleasure to have you here. So you're a young guy trying to make your way through horse racing. It's a tough business for sure, a lot of competition. And yet you were telling us before we came on live that you had a kind of a tough January so far. A couple hard knocks. Tell us what happened there.
I rode this horse. Her name was Naughty Swagger. Close to the end of end of December, early January. Couldn't quite tell you the exact date. But I remember going into the race, I'm thinking this horse can't lose. Horse is like 4 to 5, post time, and turned for home. I think we were like 3 or 4 in front, and I'm like, I'm home free. And something, felt a little funny. She sounded a little funny going down the lane, and by the 8th pole, I kind of wrapped up on her, and she had a heart attack crossing the wire. She went down. I went down with her. Got sent to the ER for that one. Luckily, nothing serious happened. And then maybe I want to say 2-3 weeks later, I went down in a quarter horse race, and same thing. Got lucky. That one actually ran me over, and luckily same thing. Nothing but a little soreness, a little swelling. But it's definitely a tough business, and my January was definitely a tough January. But like I said, luckily nothing serious did happen, and here we are today.
Mm-hmm. So, just looking at the Equibase, checking out your rides and stuff like that. What does a young jockey have to do to earn more trust? Because you're hitting at about 15%, right? In the money, well over 50%. So, what does a young jockey have to do to earn the trust of more owners, more trainers to get more rides?
Honestly, with a young rider, Turf Paradise this year upped their purses, so that definitely drew in a crowd of better jockeys. From Canterbury, Emerald Downs, so the purses definitely drew in better quality riders, if you would. So to hold your own, you just gotta try. At the end of the day, some of these guys will get a rider that if at the quarter pole they don't have much, they'll kind of wrap up. They just want to see you try. That's it. Regardless if you finish second, whether first, second, or last. As long as they see you give them an honest shot, that'll definitely give them the trust to put you on. Because like I said, you're competing against some bigger name riders. So to compete against them, you just gotta put the effort in there, and show them that you're gonna give them just as much of a shot as they would.
So when you're in a race, you mentioned whether you're coming home first, second, third, fourth. I watched a couple races today at Santa Anita, and there was a couple of mounts where I saw a jockey stand up on the horse and didn't get the most out of the horse at the end. At what point in the race do you know, or what's that feeling when you're like, damn, I know I got this, or damn, I ain't got a chance?
Well, generally maybe around the 3/8 pole, is kind of when riders start, looking for, start asking their horses for run. And right around then, if you what you have under yourself. But I honestly think maybe at the quarter pole, once you reach the quarter pole, I mean, if horses are passing you left and right, and your horse is backing up, you can kind of, you're not on a lot of horse.
You can call it a wrap,
But
huh?
yeah, kind of, but like I said, at the end of the day, it's still the effort that you put into it. Regardless of how much horse or not you have. They don't. They're not looking for you to beat up on a horse or anything like that. But just to stay down on a horse and kind of get the horse to finish through the wire. That's all they're looking for. But yeah, a rider typically knows. At least for me, I know. If I have a shot at the quarter pole, give or take.
That's the part I feel bad for you guys too. If you're not trying, you get criticism there, and if you're trying too hard, you get criticism there. So it's very hard to find that balance.
You gotta kind of, yeah, you're right. You gotta kind of find the balance because an owner gets paid up until fifth place. I believe before everything's even. I believe from sixth place to last, everybody gets the same cut. So like what a lot of riders I believe don't take into consideration is the fact that even though the that fifth place might only and it doesn't make a difference for us. We get paid through, I believe it's third place. From fourth place down, we just get a jocks amount. So, but the owner gets paid a little bit more for fourth and for fifth place too. And for fifth place, hey, you got to ride with me as if we're riding down the stretch for the Kentucky Derby. You know what I mean? Just because I know that that's what I was hired to do, and I got to get every single cent that I can for the owner, in the race. So that's where that effort comes into place. That's what the owners want to see, that you're going to try to get them every dollar you can for them.
How crazy difference is it too, going from the thoroughbred racing to the quarter horse racing?
I actually rode my first quarter horse for a friend of mine, and it was one of those things that I was just like, you know what, I just want to do it to say that I did it, to see how it is. I had never done it before or anything like that. I rode some like 2 furlong thoroughbred races at Mountaineer, but when I'm telling you, Shawn, that when those gates open, that those things feel like they're running on their stomach. They're fast. They're very, very fast. There might not be a lot of, I mean, I don't know, at least for me, I'm not a full-time quarter horse rider, but at least for me, I mean, it's kind of like break, hold on, go. There's not much thinking, and that's what I like about the thoroughbreds, that you kind of got to think, got to measure, got to see what this person's doing, what that horse is doing, things like that. But I'm telling you that it is fun, and it's definitely an adrenaline rush. It is. And like there's some days that I'll ride a quarter horse race, and then later on in the day I'll ride a thoroughbred race, and that thoroughbred feels slow. It feels slow. Yeah.
I bet. Now you've been running Turf Paradise. Now this weekend you're gonna not move your tack, but add to your tack over at another track. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Relito opens up now from this Saturday through the I believe the 3rd of April, and it's weekend racing, so it kind of fits in perfect with Turf Paradise. We ride Monday through Friday here, and Relito racetrack opens up Saturdays and Sundays. So to sit at home and do nothing, I'd rather go and ride over there. But I think it's gonna be fun. I've never been there. I've seen videos. People have told me they have a great fan base. They have a lot of people that show up for the races. And to my knowledge, I don't believe they have casinos or anything like that. So the people really go out there for the horses, which is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think it'll be definitely a good experience to go over to Relito on the weekends.
What jockeys over there will you be competing against? Do you know?
I know most of the top guys won't go over there, whether it being because the purses aren't to their liking, or whether just because it is a bull ring, and bull ring meaning that it's a 5/8 track all the way around. And some of them, some riders just don't like riding bull rings. But that's where, young riders, or riders that may not be getting the opportunities at tracks can go there, can do pretty good, because the fact that the competition is less, is just not as tough, so I believe, I know like jockeys like quarter horse jockeys, they'll all go over there. The purses are amazing over there for the thoroughbred. For the quarter horses, they're great. But as for thoroughbred riders, I know you'll have Ajari Williams, Alyssa Morales, Crystal Conning, Michael Ybarra, some of those riders that do ride at Turf Paradise, that ride some here and there, make it by, they'll use Relito as kind of like, to kind of cushion their meat, and, kind of get through the winter months. So like I said, you'll still have, your fair amount of, decent riders going up there to ride. And they did up the purses at Relito this year, because I believe the last time they ran there, the purses were anywhere from like 4,500, 5,000 lowest. So this meet, all the stakes races for thoroughbreds are 20,000. The quarter horses range from 30 to 45,000. So there's some money to be made there. And I think it's gonna be a fun time. Everyone's gonna have a good time. Everyone's gonna get their fair share. And what I like about this place here, regardless if you have Turf Paradise, Arizona Downs, or Relito, everybody eats. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Regardless of who does better, who wins more, everybody eats.
So when you're getting ready for a new track that you haven't run at before, what's your preparation? You just watching video, or you going over there to get some rides in the morning? So how do you get ready for something you haven't done before?
Well, honestly, when I go into a new racetrack, I kind of just keep it in my mind that we're just riding racehorses. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
We're riding racehorses. And I mean, you're talking to a guy that, for the most part, started off at Mountaineer. And eventually I wound up riding at tracks like Laurel, Aqueduct, Belmont. And, it's kind of, especially being as young as I was, because when I eventually did make it up to New York, I was young. I was maybe 20 years old, 21 years old. So it's kind of, it can be overwhelming at times. But I think the most important thing is, at least for me, was we're just riding racehorses. It doesn't matter where we are, how much the money is, or who it's for. We're riding horses. And when I got into this business, I never really had, I don't know if this sounds bad or not, but to me, it was never about one day winning the Kentucky Derby or one day winning the British Cups. I was just a kid in Puerto Rico that wanted to ride racehorses. That was it for me. And like I said, I think that's helped me in in terms of, like, if I'm riding next to somebody here at Surf Paradise, or if I'm riding next to John Velasquez in New York, we're riding racehorses. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So, you got to ride with me and I got to ride with you. And I think I've always kept that mentality, which is why, it never starstruck me. It never made me nervous. We're just riding horses, something that we all do. We all got a license to do it. And that's the most important part to me, to not get nervous. We're just riding horses.
Hmm. So any hopes or plans to ride horses a little bit more to your west?
I while I've been down here, I've had the opportunity, like I've been asked to ship into Del Mar and things like that. But I'm at a point in my career when I'm honestly very content where I'm at. I like where I'm at right now. You can't beat the weather. I hold my own out here. I pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? So
Uh-huh.
unless it's a certain race, or or I think the horse has a shot at actually going to go win a race, I'm comfortable where I'm at. Like I said, I never went into this aspiring one day to be on, to ride a derby horse. I like I said, since I was a little kid, I just wanted to ride horses, and be competitive doing it. And that's where I want to be. I want to be where I'm competitive. I'm not saying that if one day the opportunity arises
Hmm.
with maybe a decent agent, or a good barn or something like that, that I wouldn't make the move. But until then, I'm good where I'm at. I'm very comfortable where I'm at, and I'm doing what I like to do. It doesn't really matter where I'm doing it.
Yeah,
What
I
would
can
you
see that.
what would you say your strength is at riding, and what's something that you would say you really need to work on that you want to get better at?
I would like to say that my biggest strength, a lot of trainers or owners that look for me to ride their horses are looking for the aggression. I'm a very aggressive rider. That does not work for every horse, but I'm a jockey that's gonna get after a horse. If I think that I have enough horse under me, I'm gonna ask this horse for a lot of run, and I think that's my strength. What I think my weakness is as a rider, uh, I don't like being on the front. I don't like.
Oh,
Yeah, I do not. I like, and it doesn't matter if we're spring, if we're going long. I hate it. I hate being, on the front in the beginning of the race, because I can't. It's harder for me to measure what everybody else is doing. And I think there I could kind of, and you'll notice that if I'm ever on a speed horse, uh, I might tend to look back a little more, or something like that. I'll look back. I'm worried. I'm not worried, but I'm looking. Where are you at? Or I'm listening as to where, if I'm coming from off the pace or from even dead last, I can see what's going on in front of me and see what jockeys are doing and how that horse is breathing or how that horse is going. So I personally like to come from off the pace, just because I can see everything going on in front of me, and I can, establish my game plan, based on that. As opposed to when I'm on the lead, I'm just like, I hope you make it. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
So you'd rather be the hunter than the hunted.
Yes,
What's
100%.
interesting about that is a couple jockeys that went out west. Like you said, that's the big difference. Out west, it's a lot more speed, and they just want to go.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Listen, I mean, I've been to, like I said, I've ridden. I was counting a few weeks ago, and I believe I've ridden at 23 tracks since I started riding in 2017, and most of them predominantly on the East Coast. And it's just speed. I mean, Turf Paradise is a speed track, all in all. But I mean, yeah,
Just get up and hustle. Get out of that
yeah.
gate
They
and
they
get
want
going.
they want them up there.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So what other kind of plans do you have for the rest of 2022? And you're not horse racing, well, 7 days a week now, you said, because of the upcoming meet. But when you're not racing, what are you doing for fun? Because, I mean, you're a young man. You got to have some fun, too. It can't be all work and no play would make Keivan a dull guy.
Yeah, for sure. Don't get me wrong. I like being in my house. You know what I'm saying? I like resting, but I did recently take up bull riding. If that counts.
I've seen those
Thursdays.
videos. Yeah,
Yeah, there's this nice
you're
little
holding your own.
there's this nice little bar about 20 minutes away from Turf Paradise that a lot of race trackers go to. It's a fun time. But they do on Thursday nights, they do like amateur bull riding nights, and you give them $20, sign a waiver, and you can get on a bull.
The real
So
one, not the
yeah.
mechanical one.
No, a real bull.
For
Yeah,
$20 in a waiver, you get to ride a real bull.
$20 in a waiver, and you can get on a bull.
I hope there's a good rodeo clown out there, because I know I would be off that bull in about 3, and I'm already on the ground. There, you
Well,
don't even get the
I've covered
2-1.
my last two. I've covered my last two, but 3 bulls back, he stepped on my leg pretty good, and I was worried, for a little bit.
So you got horses knocking you off, and now you got to go
Bulls
mess
too.
with bulls that want to get you off.
Yep. Well, hopefully the bulls get me better at staying on, so that way I can stay on my horses better.
Yeah, I could see that. That could work out, right? Because one's definitely trying to get you off. So you
Oh
don't
yeah.
got to go home,
When
but you
when
sure as hell
when you
got to
fall
get the
off
hell
a
off of
horse,
me.
you fall. When you fall off a horse, you fall. But the bull's trying to get you off for
Mm.
sure.
And then he's coming back for you.
Yeah, you gotta run. You gotta
Yeah,
run.
gee. That's got to be. I bet that's a hell of it. So what's more of an adrenaline rush? Falling off the bull and having the bull chase you, or coming out of the gate with a quarter horse?
That's a good one. I'd have to say, I'd have to say the quarter horse. I still gotta say the quarter horse, because when I'm telling you that these things leave the gate with, like, they leave. You know what I'm saying? They really leave. Like, if you're not a good gate rider, that's one thing I will give quarter horse jockeys. You have to be a very good gate rider, because if you miss the break, you're done.
Mhm.
Thoroughbreds, if you miss it, you can kind of, plan B. There's really no plan B with quarter horses. You kind of got to get them out and hope you got the fastest horse. And I think that's like, if I would take horse racing down to the basics, quarter horse racing would be it. From here to there, who's got the fastest horse? And and like I said, it's not something I do full time. Do not get me wrong, not something I do full time, but it's definitely something that every time I do it, it's an adrenaline rush. It's very fun, and I look forward to it. When I do see that I have a quarter horse in, it's something I look forward to.
It's like the streetcar racing version of horse racing.
Yes,
Absolutely. No,
that's a great point.
I never had any streetcar races when I was younger. Nah, I was too well behaved.
Yeah. Well, I drive
right.
a Camaro, so I mean, you can already know what I do on my, when I'm driving home.
Well, I imagine if you go fast for a living, you want to go fast when you're not. I mean, because you said, I mean, you had mentioned that when you go from a quarter horse to a thoroughbred, that it feels like you're driving slow.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like when you're on the highway, when you got a fast car and traffic is flowing 95 miles an hour. And then all of a sudden there's the state trooper up ahead.
Yep.
And everybody boop, boop, boop. And now you're all driving 55. You feel like you can open the door and run faster than the car.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what it is.
Is that why your nickname's Cadillac?
That's actually a very funny story. I got that nickname at Mountaineer because on my birthday, I rode a horse for a trainer, a good friend of mine. His name is Ben DeLong. I rode a horse named Call Me Cadillac. And Peter Barry, from that point forward, the horse didn't even win. The horse runs second. But from that point forward, Peter Barry just started calling me Cadillac. and it stuck.
Could be worse. There could be worse nicknames than Cadillac.
I'll take it. It's a luxury
Yeah.
vehicle. I'll take it.
I would take Cadillac too. That's
Yeah.
a pretty good one. I mean, it's better
I mean,
than Yugo or something like that.
Yeah, like or Hyundai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you would definitely be. I would be embarrassed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely, for sure. Anything else, Shawn?
No, that's it. I appreciate you coming on. I always appreciate the guys that I get to talk to off camera, and they come on camera and they get to show the world how nice of guys they are and how fun of personalities. And like I said, this sport's great and full of great personalities
For sure.
that don't get shown.
Absolutely.
For sure. And I appreciate you guys having me on. Love what you guys are doing. Like I said, this definitely brings a side of the sport that not a lot of people get to see, because we're not on a sports center. You get what I'm saying? So like I said, what you guys are doing is great. And I hope you guys keep growing and keep doing great.
Right. We thank you and appreciate that. So tell your friends about us. And unfortunately, I think we did break Facebook today because I was looking and I don't think we're on Facebook, Shawn.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
So
I have the link out there, but I'll put the link out again.
I'll have to figure out how I broke it and fix it. So I mean, yeah, and that's going to probably take me a month considering my ignorance for technology. But nonetheless, I had a lot of fun tonight, Keivan. We wish you nothing but a ton of success and hope to see you soon after winning the Kentucky Derby for sure, my man.
One day, you never know. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too, my man.
Bye-bye. Always lots of fun, right, Shawn?
Yeah, I got the big head again. There we go.
Yeah, not again. It's just always.
Yeah, like I said,
giant melon sitting on them shoulders.
He's another guy I've been able to talk to for quite a while through Facebook and stuff, and great guy. I'm finally glad that we got a show that we can bring on more and more of these people, and they don't get the spotlight like they should. So.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how we screwed up I know how we screwed up the Facebook thing, but we'll have to figure out how to fix it so that we can go live back on Facebook again, nonetheless. Well,
somebody tried to hack me. That's why.
Well, what are you going to do, Shawn? It's the world we live in today, right? So some news to go through in the horse racing weekend. Well, Epicenter got the first 50 points for the Kentucky Derby. So Epicenter is the first horse to qualify for the, in all likelihood, 99%. Like I said, it's Ivory Soap, 99.44%. 50 points is enough to get Epicenter into the Kentucky Derby. Shawn, you saw the race. Terry and I did the show, probably about the only one I got right. And because there's just Bomb City on Saturday afternoon at Fairgrounds, I said if he ran around a 48 and change the opening half, there was no catching him. He ran 48 and change. There was no catching him. What do you think his prospects are come the first Saturday of May?
I was impressed. I like it. We'll see how much speed is in the Kentucky Derby, but there's always speed, and there's still usually a speed horse that wins it. So, I mean, and if Rosario's on him, I mean, he's the big money rider. So he's got a good shot. Obviously, if you had a Kentucky Derby future, it would have been better to have it
now,
before.
right? Because now he's in. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was good to have it before. Now you're not going to get so much great value for him. But
yeah, someone said on our show, I forget who it was. I think Jared Bush, maybe one of the
30-1 or something.
35-1. He said, "Yeah, that's sweet." Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't think you're going to get that anymore. now that he's in, right? He's got at least a 1 in 20 chance, so you shouldn't get any more than 20-1 odds in the futures pool. I thought. If you remember, Mike Smith said that when you ride in the Kentucky Derby, the first 100 yards or so, or the first quarter, maybe the first furlong, is a sprint. It's like it's like a thoroughbred race. I mean, like a quarter horse race. Everybody's trying to get out and get position, and that's the most important thing in the early part of the race where you actually are sending. So there's always speed, and I expect that he'll be part of the speed scenario come the first Saturday of May. Speaking of the Kentucky Derby, Mandolin was awarded the Kentucky Derby finally over Medina Spirit after the folks in Churchill decided, the Kentucky Horse Racing Board banned Baffert, took the win away from Medina Spirit for 90 days. So I don't know, how does that play relative? It was kind of unclear to me if that means that the 2-year suspension thing is over or that's just a Kentucky thing. And now that it's a Kentucky thing, my understanding is that because it's a Kentucky Horse Racing Commission, all the other horse racing commissions kind of fall in line. So essentially Bob can't run anywhere for 90 days. Is that your understanding?
I'm not sure about that last part. The other part, yeah, he's going to be suspended 90 days in Kentucky. I'm not sure about the 2 years, and I'm not sure. Most likely, most tracks would follow suit. But, I mean, each track has their own thing.
Well, I don't think it's a track thing. I think there's like a pact between state commissions.
Yes.
That if one trainer is banned in one commission, then he's banned in other commissions.
And all the games that have been played, you have to think that this was totally thought out too, because the 90 days would make sure that he doesn't get into the Kentucky Derby. Right. So,
but it's like a few days before the Belmont Stakes. So they're like, okay, New York, the ball's in your court. We're done with this one.
Yeah. And then my question too is how many appeals are left? I mean, I'm sure this isn't the final verdict. It never seems to. I don't know when we get to the final verdict and all appeals and everything else are done. And also now we got that whole game of if you won with Medina Spirit, you got your money and they're not taking it from you.
I think it's too late for that, Sean.
Yeah, if you got Mandaloon, you're not going to win neither, and then you just upset people because now they think they got the winner, and technically they do.
Yeah, but no horse player wants that, Sean. I mean, no horse player expects to get paid on that bet now. They're not going to cancel out and ask all the Medina Spirit people to give their money back, so they can transfer that wealth to somebody else. And the funny thing is, had Mandaloon won, I would have won my bet too, but I'm not expecting to get paid back like that, right? So,
and the worst part is, and I think everybody's got to. Again, we've said constantly that Medina Spirit is just the victim here, and it happened again, taking that Derby win away.
Well, what I want to see now, right, is to me, I want to see the equal application of the rules now, right? So if there are other trainers that have a similar or the same violation, be it, Bob Baffert again, or some less known trainer, if you will, or, another high profile trainer. If they have a similar type offense, then I think they should get a similar type of punishment, because then you can't be accused of being favorites. And I think you go a long way into cleaning up the sport.
100% agree. It shouldn't just be because it's Bob Baffert. It should be because you cheated the rules.
Right.
So, yes.
Next up on, everybody's in a rush to get this Horse Racing Integrity Safety Act out there, right? So they want to throw the ball into the politicians' hands. And I'm saying, put a yellow flag up on that one, because I'm not so sure that's really what you think you want. But here you have in Georgia. Now you might actually get a new track in Georgia. Right now, horse racing's not, parimutuel betting is not legal. They're going to vote on it, I guess, pretty soon, one way or the other. And there might be a facility not too long, in the not too far future, for Atlanta, which I think would be cool. I mean, it's a big city on the rise, Hotlanta, young, hip city. I think that would be a great place for a track, Sean. But the fact that it's in politicians' hands means, I don't know what it means, but it probably means somewhere along the line, you got to make sure the right people get contributions.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll make sure of that before it goes live and everything happens. Just hopefully it's done the right way. And absolutely, why not add Georgia to it? And the more tracks and more states involved, the better for the sport, as long as it's done the right way.
Yeah, and it's got to be in a good schedule, good horses, that sort of stuff. And on the other end of that spectrum, where they want to have horse racing, maybe the gentleman out there that owns the coffee shop that tried to put a nicer place in Grants Pass, maybe he might think about taking his money and relocating to Atlanta, where they want a track, whereas the governor, Katie Brown, up in Oregon, made it crystal clear she doesn't want the track to expand at Grants Pass. So this is why I'm hesitant as a horse racing fan to say, okay, let's just throw everything into a bureaucrat's hands and see what happens. I would much rather the racing commissions from Kentucky and California and Florida and New York get together and come to a pact between those four major, they're the big ones, right? They're the big leagues. Have them come together on an agreed set of rules that they're each going to follow. And then all the smaller states, smaller commissions will fall into line. That way it's controlled by people who understand racing, and you don't have bureaucrats that have no idea what they're talking about interfering.
Exactly, and they're just going off of their general feelings on how they feel about it,
or who,
not anything.
Not even that, Sean. I think a lot of it comes down to who contributes to them.
Right.
Whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Whether it's good or bad for the state, it doesn't matter. This person is giving me money. This person is not. I have to, as a politician, I have to serve the people who are paying me, right?
Yep.
Which is not the way it ought to be, but unfortunately, I mean, let's be realistic. That's the way it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, and if they don't, then you might not be in that position too. So that's what you're talking about. So yeah.
So to me, like I said, I'd much rather have the folks from horse racing, the big commissions, get together, set down the rules that you can all agree on, that go across the big states, and then basically tell. So if you're at Kentucky or you're New York or you're California or you're Florida, the 4 major states for horse racing, you get those commissions together, you get a set of rules, and then you tell all the other states, if you want your horses to come into the Kentucky Derby to be eligible, or you want your horses to be able to run it at a NYRA track, you want your horse to be able to run at Gulfstream for the bigger purses in the wintertime, then you have to abide by these rules.
Let's be honest, if the 4 major circuits do that and it works, all the other tracks are going to follow by default anyway. So
they'll have no choice if they want their horses to run.
Right. So first off, why hasn't that ever happened yet? You know what I mean? That should have been easy in the first step long time ago.
I'm sure there's reasons it hasn't happened, Shawn, that we don't know. Maybe it's simplifying things over YouTube is a lot easier than probably in the real world, right? Getting together, trying to hack out whatever sort of differences there are. But to me, it would be a much better solution for the horse racing business than to get folks in your pocket that later on might put the squeeze on you, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Shawn, one final bit of good news. I don't know if you watched the Rachel Alexandra, but Crete was a horse that was undefeated, and you could tell right away about halfway down the backstretch, she started to go, and you knew something was not right. Apparently, she had a condylar fracture. I hope I pronounced that correctly, and then got some surgery on the weekend. And Scott Bassey, the assistant trainer to Steve Asmussen, said the horse had a good night and looks like it's going to be okay. But maybe I don't know what it means for its racing career, but it's good that the horse, got the operation that it needed and survived.
Yeah, absolutely. And at this point, it doesn't matter about the racing career. Let's make sure Crete's okay first, and that's great. When they injure their legs like that, even when they do see it, it's like a 50-50 shot. So far, everything's moving in the right direction, and it seems like she'll be fine. So that's really good news because it didn't look good when it happened.
No, it just went straight back. The what's not a 50-50 shot, Shawn?
What's that?
Looking good, baby, in horse racing today gear. Right? We have it for women, we have it for guys, even portly guys like myself, right? And the skinnier dudes might like the skinnier shirts, right? But if you look at, for example, horse racing today, the logo on the front, and you'll see that the wonderful number 6 is on the back. There's no question when you go to the horse track that there's going to be folks that are going to say, where did you get that? Pair up that number 6 with a horse racing today hat with the number 6 on the front, and you are absolutely going to be styling. I've ordered my stuff already. It's on the way in. I can't wait to put it on, Shawn, for the show. But I really like the way the stuff looks, and I've heard nothing but positive feedback. So one way you can support the show is by heading to horseracingtoday.net, click on horse HRT gear, and hook yourself up with some stuff I know you're going to like.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be ordering my stuff really soon as well. I'm trying to decide which ones I want. A lot of good stuff to choose from.
That's a bad excuse. You know what he's really waiting for?
Since we don't make enough money yet, I can't just
that's just a bad excuse. You know what he's waiting for? Here's what he's really waiting for, folks. Tonight he got a bonus on DraftKings for UCLA, and then he's getting plus 100. So that money went to that plus 100 instead of plus 120.
Well, all I know is UCLA better win because I didn't even know about the bet. Thankfully, Rich let me know. Tomorrow morning it might be a different story.
You make your own decisions, bro. It ain't on me. All right, tomorrow night. Who we got tomorrow night? Hopefully by that time I can get the YouTube and all that stuff up and running.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. We got retired jockey Vernon Bush. He's had over, I think, 3,000 wins, career wins. So he knows the winner's circle very well as well. And then Wednesday, 20-year-old trainer Riley Grutzton. She trains a lot at Delta and Evangeline. She's a youngster, huh? And then, really young. And very successful at a young age. So we'll get to hear her story. And then Thursday, know how to use technology. Maybe we can get her to help us fix the StreamYard.
And then on Thursday night, Vic Stauffer, right, for the Players Edge podcast, because we'll be covering races at Oaklawn Park. And one of my favorite tracks because bombs come in, but I rarely have them.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those, you know, even when you don't have it, you're like, oh man, like it's definitely, the big prices are definitely more doable than other places. I would say they're even the big price horses that come in, they're more logical to me than some other places when they come in. So yeah, it's definitely, I really like the track, and it was another track that was really good, bombs away during the whole COVID stage too. It was
for
very
sure. No, it was a good time. I'm looking forward to Vic Stauffer as well in his picture. And then we will be, Terry and I will be back tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern. I really hope to have the Facebook stuff corrected by then. I'll look into it and try to get it done this evening. We're going to be doing parks. There's a dozen races there, so you're going to make sure you want to check in early on that. And I had a very frustrating day with my contests today, Sean. Very frustrating day. Well,
second and thirds?
By noses. So in the one race, I finished the first spot away from qualifying, and usually by like 30 cents, like by some small amount. And I lost. I had a couple of third place horses that didn't have second place by a nose. If one of them gets the second place, I get that 30 cents. I had another one. Then today at Santa Anita, I missed the qualifying by 2 spots. I think 3 spots by like $1.50. I mean, so you're talking about just a small amount of money, right? Well, I think it was race number 2. I'm not sure, but the 5 horse was I think he beat the 2 horse, but the only place at the finish line that the 5 horse was not in front of the 2 horse was at the photo. You know what I'm saying? He had gone by, but his head was up and the other horse's head was down. The next head bob and the gallop out, my horse ran by him easy. If that race would have been literally 6 inches longer, I win. And if that horse wins, I am like 3rd or 4th place and I move on. I could have qualified twice today.
I believe I know exactly what race you're talking about. And I honestly, watching it live, I was like, the 2 definitely held on. And then you kept watching the replay and you're like, okay, like maybe the 5 did get there. But you're exactly right. It just,
and that's the difference between a 5-1. And I think that other one went off at like right around even money odds. I think like
8-5, 9-5. Yeah.
So if I get that horse home, that's $12 on the win, and then it's probably $4 or $5. I think it paid $4.20 on the place, so that's another $12. And like I said, I missed that one by $1.30. This much away, Sean, twice today, and you're just like,
as a bettor,
like you soon.
As a bettor, when you watch those photos and then you watch the whole race, you're like, well, if you would have just done this, you would have made up that little bit. I can only imagine as a jockey how you would reevaluate that race every time and just look for that extra nose and go, I could have done this to get that extra.
Well, that's a question you should ask tomorrow.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, just write that one down. Well, in another race too, I was watching, I don't want to bore you with all this stuff, but there was another horse, a first-time starter, right? I don't know if you saw the number 4 horse. I forget what race he was in. But
Santa Anita?
Santa Anita, yeah. First-time starter. Was it Santa Anita? No, it was Aqueduct, first-time starter. And he's coming around. He's pinned in. He tries to go wide. And as he's starting to go wide, the jockey changes his mind and then dips back to the inside and tries to split horses. And by doing so, kind of, altered his route a little bit. And then he had to kind of wait for traffic to clear to rally again. And then was flying late. But had he just stayed outside, I feel like at worst he would have finished in 2nd place. And had he had finished in 2nd place instead of finishing 4th, I would have had another, I don't know, like $5. And again, I missed by, like I said, like $1.30. So I was just like pulling my hair out today.
That's one we don't have to ask jockeys. Jockeys say that all the time. You just have to make your decision and go. Once you have that hesitation or you make the wrong call on which side you're going and you switch, you've lost too much at that point.
Yeah, it was just I was just like, oh, and I knew too when he did that. I'm like, there's no way, because it's a bold move, but there's just too much traffic in front of him.
I hate it works for some jockeys, but I hate when I have the horse coming up the rail. It's so much easier from the outside.
Well, he didn't come up from the rail. He was too wide. He was in the 2 lane behind next to another.
Okay, horse. But still, if
and then the horses in front of him were starting to slow, and he started to come out right to go around them. And when he came out, those horses came out too, right? You know how Tony Black said, but they were
Yep.
tiring. So they're starting to come out a little bit. So he saw a lane and he tried to duck in underneath them. So he took like a 90-degree turn to the left and then, and then try to straighten back out again. And the horse had a lot of runs. So I would keep an eye on that one for another race, but just frustrating because I feel like if he had just stayed to the outside, he would have cleared everybody and at worst come home second. And I could have qualified twice today with just that much horse. Anyway, Shawn, that's it for tonight. Any final thoughts before we get out of here and try to fix this YouTube issue or Facebook issue or whatever issue we're having?
No, another fun night. Looking forward to tomorrow and Wednesday, and let's go UCLA.
Let's go UCLA. Of course, that's a good way to end the show. Let's go UCLA. Bring home that bonus. Terry and I will see you tomorrow for 12 races at Parks. I'm looking forward to it. Until then, everybody have a fantastic evening. We shall see you tomorrow.